haven't posted anything on this channel since November. Is that right? I think that's right. And I honestly don't have an excuse for it, except for NaNoWriMo, but that was so long ago that it doesn't even count. So today I figured I would do a quick wrap up of what I've read so far this year, because this year is already 2 months in and I don't know where time went. I'm doing a Goodreads challenge this year. This is the first time I've done it, so I'm going to try and read 52 books in the year 2015, which averages out to exactly a book a week. So far, I'm on track. I've read 8 books. There have been 8 weeks in 2015, so we're doing well there. I figured I'd go over those books, so you know what I've been reading since I haven't posted anything on this channel. To be fair, I have been fairly active on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, it's at Books, Yarn, and Tea, and I'm pretty active there. I'm sorry anyone who has been following me in the last month, because it's been taken over by Mistborn. It's bad. The first book that I read in January, I actually started it in December but finished it up in January, was Night Film by Marisha Pessl. I initially really enjoyed this book. It was a very intriguing concept. It follows the investigation of a disgraced journalist. Night Film has been talked about on BookTube a fair amount. It's a fairly popular book last year. I know Reagan listed it as one of her top books from 2014. I was not a huge fan. I went into it. I really liked the beginning of it. It just really fell apart at the end for me. It was trying to resolve so much. It was very long-winded. It just fell apart at the end for me. So I gave that 3 stars. It started out probably close to at least a 4, maybe a 4.5, but it just fell off at the ending for me. The next book I read is actually a graphic novel. It's volume 1 of Deadly Class by Rick Remender. This was also a disappointment. January was not a great month for me reading-wise. I had expected a lot more of this graphic novel to take place at the actual assassin's school. Maybe that will become a bigger plot point in the later volumes, but right now I don't feel motivated to pursue that particular series any further. So I gave that 3 stars as well. I recently rewatched all of Avatar: The Last Airbender and Avatar: Legend of Korra, the sequel. The third book that I read in January was a bind-up of the graphic novel series The Search from Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you're not familiar with the graphic novels of Avatar, they exist between the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender and the beginning of Legend of Korra. They are much closer to the end of Avatar, but this examined the search for Zuko's mom, which if you are a fan of Avatar, you know you were left with those questions. I now know what happened to Zuko's mom, and I gave that a 4.5. It was great. I really enjoyed it. The next book I read also in January was definitely my favorite of January. This was my one success other than Avatar. And that was Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. This is set in the 1970s in pretty rural Ohio. I live in Ohio, so that was part of what drew me to pursue this book. This is the story of an Asian American family who find out that their daughter, their beloved middle daughter, the golden child of the family, is missing and later turns up dead. It's not a spoiler, that's literally the first line in the book. And it examines the aftermath of this as well as what led up to these events. It moves very fluidly between the present, when they're looking for Lydia, when they find out what has happened to Lydia, and the past. So you kind of understand how this family has come to be, how all the dynamics play around in the family. The last book that I read in January was Mr. Kiss and Tell by Rob Thomas and Jennifer Graham, which is the second book in the Veronica Mars novel series. The first one is The $1,000 Tan Line, and I really enjoyed The $1,000 Tan Line. I thought it was a great continuation of the series. Mr. Kiss and Tell, again, was a disappointment for me. It felt very scattered. It was trying to do, I think, too many things to build up a plot. It drew a lot of the attention away from Veronica, and her case within this just was not as interesting. It felt like they were trying very hard to get characters back from the original series. So this was a 3-star for me. Moving into February, it started out the disappointing carryover from January. I read the first volume of East of West, which is a graphic novel series. It's kind of a sci-fi western apocalypse thing. Again, I'm like hit or miss on graphic novels, but I've read Saga and I absolutely adore Saga. So I don't know what's up. But I wasn't a fan of this. I just felt very dropped in. I didn't really feel connected to any of the characters. I'm not sure I could name any of the characters or like describe what was going on. So it just didn't hook me. I'm probably not going to pursue that series either. And next is the exciting part. Next, I started Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Oh my god. This is the Final Empire, the first book in the series. I love this. I love this so much. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, especially because I've read / I'm working on reading the sequels. So I'm not going to do a whole lot. It's a high fantasy series. The magic system is based on ingesting metals. I know this has been going around a lot on BookTube. This was the Booksplosion book of the month in January. Year of Cosmere is going on, so there's been a lot of attention around Brandon Sanderson and the Mistborn series. I would highly recommend it. I gave this 5 stars. I also read The Well of Ascension in February and gave that 5 stars. The Final Empire is definitely my favorite of the series, though. And the first book on my March TBR is Hero of Ages, which I'm already well into. So Hero of Ages is definitely number 1 on my priority list. I don't know what else I'm going to read. I've been reading House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski for the past 5 months, and I'm only like 100 pages in. So I will probably work on this. This is my boyfriend's copy. He really wants me to read it because this is his favorite book, essentially, and I've been really slow. Part of me wants to continue on with my fantasy kick. I also might be done with fantasy for a little bit after I finish Hero of Ages. We'll see. Let me know in the comments if you have recommendations of things you think I should read. So that's my little reading update. I will hopefully be actually putting up videos. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I am definitely more active there. You can follow me on Goodreads. All the social media stuff is down in the down bar thingy. Comment down below. Let me know if you want reviews on any of these books. I'm definitely going to be doing a series review on Mistborn. There's probably going to be a spoiler-free version and then a, like, oh my god, fangirl version. So be on the lookout for that once I finish Hero of Ages. I'll definitely be tweeting about reading Hero of Ages on Twitter, so check that out. I will see you guys soon. Bye!